Prophet Muhammad, God's messenger and the last prophet, was born in the city of Makkah. Makkah is in the west of the Arabian Peninsula, lying between Asia, Europe, and Africa, within the Hejaz region. It is important to be aware of the history of Makkah, the Kaaba, and the Quraysh tribe in order to understand the life of the prophet. The known history of Makkah dates back to the time of Prophet Abraham, but there is not much information about any earlier history. Prophet Abraham brought his infant son Ishmael and his wife Hagar to Makkah upon the command of God, leaving them there and himself returning to Palestine.
The valley of Makkah is described as an uncultivable valley, being a desert with a hot, dry climate. Thus, Hagar and Ishmael were soon very thirsty. According to religious accounts, just as Hagar, who had been running between the Safa and Marwa hills in order to find water, had become desperate and abandoned hope for her son's life, a source of water sprung from under the feet of her son. The source was an abundant spring called Zamzam and subsequently became a stopping place for caravans. After a certain time, the Urim tribe from Yemen settled in the outer sections of Makkah. Ishmael learned Arabic from them and married a girl from this tribe. Prophet Abraham, who was living in Palestine, paid occasional visits to Hagar and Ishmael. On his third visit to Makkah, Prophet Abraham, in accordance with divine decree, began to construct the Kaaba with his son Ishmael. It can be understood from certain verses of the Quran that the Kaaba had existed before the time of Abraham. However, it had been destroyed and its location was lost over time until Prophet Abraham once again found its place and rebuilt it. Although there is no information about who built the Kaaba before Abraham, it is recorded in some sources that it was built by Prophet Adam or his son Seth. When Prophet Abraham completed the construction of the Kaaba, the archangel Gabriel appeared to him and taught him how to perform the pilgrimage, Hajj. The administration of Makkah and the Kaaba, which had been the duty of Ishmael, passed to the Urim tribe after him. The Urim tribe first accepted the religion conveyed by Ishmael, but later deviated with time, performing immoral acts, stealing gifts that were brought to the Kaaba, and mistreating the visiting pilgrims. After a certain time, the Khuzaa tribe, which had migrated to Makkah from southern Arabia, defeated the Urim tribe in a battle and removed them from the city. The Urim tribe returned back to Yemen, their homeland, after removing the black stone from its place and covering over the Zamzam well to disguise its location. The Ishmaelites did not take part in the battle due to their small number, and they continued to stay in the city after making an agreement with the Khuzaa tribe. Amr ibn Luhai, one of the leading figures of the Khuzaa tribe, broke the tradition of monotheism and allowed for the emergence of idolatry when he took over the administration of Makkah and the Kaaba. The Quraysh, under the leadership of Qusay ibn Kilab, an ancestor of Prophet Muhammad 5 generations removed, took over the administration of Makkah in the first part of the 5th century after defeating the Khuzaa tribe. Accordingly, the services of the Kaaba, which represented great honor and respect, passed to the Quraysh. Qusay gathered the branches of Quraysh living around Makkah, and he placed them around the Kaaba. In addition, by making the necessary arrangements, Qusay gained control of the following services: the administration of Makkah, or presidency of council chambers, Dar al-Nadwa, military command, Qiyada, the right to present the standard to the standard bearer, Liwa, maintenance of the Kaaba, possession of the keys and the control of the Kaaba, Hijaba or Sidana, supply of water for the pilgrims, Sakaya, and accommodation for the pilgrims, Rifada. The Dar al-Nadwa, which he commissioned, continued its existence up to the Islamic period as a meeting place where important issues were discussed and decided upon, and various official ceremonies were held. The administration of Makkah and the services of the Kaaba were continued by the descendants of Qusay ibn Kilab after his death. Hashim ibn Abd Manaf, the grandson of Qusay and an ancestor of Prophet Muhammad 3 generations removed, worked hard to provide food and water for both the pilgrims who came to Makkah and the Quraysh tribe. Hashim, known for his generosity, and his brothers Abdu Shams and Naufal made trade agreements with Byzantium, Yemen, Abyssinia, modern-day Ethiopia, and Iran. They also signed non-aggression pacts with the tribes along the trade routes. Accordingly, trade in Makkah gained international importance. The Quraysh were able to make journeys for trade without threat to Yemen and Abyssinia in the winter, and to Syria and through Anatolia in the summer, because of the prestige they had earned from the provision of their Kaaba services. On his way to Syria, Hashim went to Yathrib, Medina, and resided there for a while, marrying Salma, the daughter of Amr ibn Zayd, from the tribe of Banu Najjar. Abd al-Muttalib, Sheba, Prophet Muhammad's grandfather, was their child. Hashim died in Gaza in Palestine during one of his travels and was buried there. Abd al-Muttalib stayed in Medina for 8 years and was later brought to Makkah by his uncle Muttalib. Abd al-Muttalib was raised by his uncle, and the latter transferred the leadership of the tribe to him before his death. After a dream, Abd al-Muttalib located the place of the Zamzam well that had been covered by the Urim tribe on their departure from Makkah, and he reopened the well. He undertook the duty of bringing food and water to the pilgrims. The religious and commercial importance of Makkah, in addition to its geographical location, attracted the attention of states such as Byzantium, Iran, Sassanid Empire, and Abyssinia. Abraha, the Yemeni governor of the Kingdom of Abyssinia, built a church in Sana'a to try to prevent the visits of the Arabs to the Kaaba. When this attempt failed, he decided to destroy the Kaaba and destroy Makkah's status as a religious center by invading it and preventing the commercial activities of its inhabitants. Abraha and his army came as far as the area surrounding Makkah and camped there. The Prophet's grandfather Abd al-Muttalib, the leader of the Hashemite branch of the Quraysh, met Abraha and reminded him that the owner of the Kaaba, known as Bait Allah, God's sacred house, would protect it. Abraha ordered his soldiers to strike, but the elephant in front of his army refused to take a step towards the Kaaba. According to the Quranic chapter entitled The Elephant, his army was destroyed by small stones that were dropped by birds flying overhead, sent by God. This incident was called the Incident of the Elephant, and the year in which it occurred was called the Year of the Elephant. The fact that Abraha's attempt failed caused the Arabs to place more importance on the pilgrimage than was ever seen before. As a result, the prestige of Makkah and the Quraysh was raised. Makkah was the leading city of the 3 prominent cities of the Hejaz region, the other 2 being Yathrib, Medina, and Taif. Makkah, the point of intersection on the roads leading to Yemen to the south, the Mediterranean to the north, the Persian Gulf to the east, and the Red Sea port of Jeddah to the west, was located at an economically strategic point. Moreover, the Kaaba was located in the city, thus making the city the religious center of Arabia. People from all parts of Arabia would come to visit the Kaaba during certain months of the year, and trade would increase in the city. People would set up fairgrounds, and poetry competitions would be held. As Makkah was unsuitable for agriculture due to geographical conditions, trade constituted the essence of business life.
Like the rest of the Arabian Peninsula in general, idolatry was also prevalent in Makkah. The number of idols in the Kaaba and its surroundings was 360. The biggest of these idols was Hubal, the most important Qurayshi idol. In addition to this, there were idols in most of the houses. Arabs accepted that God was the creator and ruler of the skies and the earth, but they worshipped the idols, which they thought would bring them closer to God. They deviated from the monotheistic belief that commanded they worship God alone, and thus they committed the sin of idolatry by associating partners with God. Yet, although their numbers were not great in Makkah, there were the Hanif, who still practiced the monotheistic belief that had been introduced by Prophet Abraham.